I said, Sly, man, I guarantee you, man, as soon as you meet him, you know, all your worries will be put to bed. And that's literally, you know, that's literally what happened. Once they got into the room together,
right.
it was like, you know, the movie was a moving train.
They were very, very impassioned. They kind of reminded me of the way I was many, many years ago, especially when you're starting from scratch in a boxing ring. And I told them that it's two different movies. You know, you have a dramatic, and then you're going to have a physical movie that is incredibly draining. And it's intimidating because you're out there basically naked. You're wearing shorts, and and you don't want to look like a fool. You have an audience and the pressure of time, and it's very, very expensive, and the heat. And just everything is working. It's like a sporting event, like a decathlon.
An 8-day decathlon.
Yeah, at least 8-day decathlon, not including a year's worth of dedication. I just left them alone, and so what you see is their choreography. It's not mine at all. And so it's the first time that I haven't choreographed in 6 movies. So it's all.
We always had him there though. You know what I mean? And it was always we was always checking in because it's not. I mean, it's such an interesting movie for me, with it being so personal, and it was something that felt very fresh and new to us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got this guy who's playing a character who he's had for 40 years, who's got all this time and knowledge, and it helped throughout every facet of filmmaking, and with the boxing especially.
One of the things that, you know, I'll never forget is when we finished, you know, the boxing sequence, you know, all the fighting. I mean, I was exhausted. I was done, like physically, like tapped out to the point where, like, you know, I couldn't get up the next morning and come into work, and I had to film. And you know, for me, you know, there's no days off. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I gotta get up. I gotta work. But I literally physically couldn't get out of bed. And I got a text, you know, a call from Sly or whatever. He basically said, told me that he did the exact same thing after he finished his fight sequences. His body just quit on him. It's like the mental strength just to cross that finish line. And as soon as you finish, like, okay, mission completed, and your body's like, all right, I got nothing left.
Flu,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it kind of gave me that, you know, that motivation. You know, like, it was comforting to know, you know, to hear from the man himself that like what I was going through was completely normal. And like
that means you've done your job well.
I want people to, as a filmmaker, especially with this film, I want this film to feel like life. You know what I mean? I want them to fall in love with these characters. I want these characters to feel real. I want them to laugh. I want them to cry. I want them to cheer. You know. But the big thing for me is that, you know, our humanity does lie in our relationships. You know what I mean? And sometimes those relationships are with people who are alive. You know what I mean? This guy has a relationship with his dad, who passed away before he met him. He forms a relationship with Rocky, with somebody he didn't know most of his life. But as soon as they meet, their relationship becomes very intense. You know, and it's just that theme that our relationships are what matters most. But we're doing this shot with this phantom camera, you know what I mean? Where Mike gets hit and he drops, you know. And I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the footage, I'm looking at the take. It's a beautiful camera, you know what I mean? Everything's going smooth. And I pull Sly to the side. I say, Sly, it's not right, man. I don't know what it is. So he comes over.
I'm trying to find it.
He comes over. He takes one look at the footage, and he looks at me dead square in my face. And he said, "You gotta take the punch."
I got it.
And I say, Sly, you can tell him that. I can't tell him that. You know what I mean? I can't, as a director,
he had this grin on his face. He was so happy to deliver this news.
Dolph got hit. I said, how can you live with yourself?